How critical is it to have those voices not only at the table, but listened to?
For Milwaukee, a must. If you're listening to community and they're at the table too and bringing a valuable piece to the equation to try to change whatever it might be as a problem, whether it's food insecurity, housing insecurity, health issues, then you got a better chance at making a difference.
Extraordinary people in our community, I would say, are Positively Milwaukee. I'm excited to have you join us. PozCast. Greg, you are no stranger to the Greater Milwaukee Foundation. You were on the board. Now you are the current president and CEO. Tell me, what was it that drew you to take on a larger leadership role with the foundation?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think what drew me to it is that it allowed me to use a lot of the skills that I have developed over the years I've been in Milwaukee, active philanthropically, active civically, active in the business community, could still utilize some of the lessons that I've learned as being a practicing lawyer. And then most importantly, it gave me the opportunity to be able to kind of pay forward the generosity that I've received in this community, being someone who came here knowing very few people.
So you are definitely connected, having been in this community,
Sure.
but connected in a way that allows for collaboration.
Right.
And I think that is one of the important things that I was learning about the Greater Milwaukee Foundation, especially as it looks to changing how philanthropy looks. Can you share with me just the mission of the Greater Milwaukee Foundation and where you're going now that you are leading at the helm?
Sure. That's a great question. The foundation's been around a century.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it is. And is the community's, I call it like heartbeat, right? So if you're a donor philanthropically and you want to know kind of what are the greatest issues that are, facing the city philanthropically, and you want to be an investor, you turn to the Community Foundation, you turn to the Greater Milwaukee Foundation. So we're that for this community. And then when we identify community issues, not only do we help donors steward their dollars, we're now moving into a place where we're taking the community voice and taking some of our discretionary dollars and trying to invest in areas that will, keep this place vibrant, to change the negative narratives that sometimes exist about this city.
How critical is it to have those voices not only at the table, but listened to?
I think for Milwaukee, a must, just because of the demographic makeup of the community. If you have a lot of resources and you're not connected to those voices and community residents and really understanding what the day-to-day is, you might do one thing. You take your data, your ideas, and do one thing. But if you're listening to community and they're at the table too and bringing a valuable piece to the equation to try to change whatever it might be as a problem, whether it's food insecurity, housing insecurity, health issues, then you got a better chance at making a difference and knowing that what you invest in is going to be received by community. Because sometimes that echo chamber of doing something without really understanding what you're doing is avoided when you center community residents and voice in the decision making.
So tell me how the Greater Milwaukee Foundation has really made sure that not only are we actively listening to those that we're investing in, but we're also investing where they are.
Sure. I think the Drive on Collaboration is one example, but I'll back up and say that we have a community impact team and program managers who are looking at all of the various issues, whether it's arts, whether it's education, the health space, and they are great resources to help us understand what the issues are. On the Thrive on Collaboration side, it's a unique anchor place-based initiative that's been done in other parts of the country, but not quite the way we're doing it. Frankly, we did our research.
And then broke the mold, right?
And I like to say created our own.
Okay, created your own blueprint.
And it's just been fantastic. So it's rooted in, real estate and people, but it's also rooted in issues that this community suffers from, food insecurity, educational disparities, health issues. Really, the better term to use is the whole social determinants of health focus. Mm-hmm. Our effort is designed to try to address, in a very tangible way, the social determinants of health in a particular part of Milwaukee, which is in what is known as the Bronzeville area, sits at the intersection of Halliard Park, Brewers Hill, Harambe, to make a difference and also to inspire other anchors in our community to do the same in other parts of Milwaukee. It's happening on the near west side, but we're anchored right where we're at on MLK.
Was it the pandemic, the death of George Floyd, that really peeled back the layers for philanthropists, institutions to see all of these disparities and the need to try to solve them?
I would say for the Thrive On collaboration, really what it started for us was the Sherman Park riots.
So 2016.
Yeah, and people call it the uprisings. I call it the riots. It's, similar language. It need to be a little bit more sensitive maybe to different languages. But that's when it started for GMF, the Greater Milwaukee Foundation, and the Medical College of Wisconsin.
I remember that night very clearly. Yeah. Actually, I was on the air when that happened. It was during the Olympics. And it was this moment where we really saw the whole city respond.
That's right.
And as I remember, I think it was Khalif Rainey said, this is a powder keg moment if we don't address it.
That's right.
So for you to say that was the moment that the Greater Milwaukee Foundation saw the need even greater is interesting. Why do you believe it is important for community foundations to really be seen in the communities that they're serving?
Sure. Let me just make one valid point, because it's just not the Greater Milwaukee Foundation. It's a collaboration. The collaboration with Thrive On is the Greater Milwaukee Foundation, the Medical College of Milwaukee, Medical College of Wisconsin, and also Rural Capital. So we've all come together, and the idea where the Sherman Park uprisings happened was at a discussion that was happening at MCW, and then internally with the Greater Milwaukee Foundation, it was on this journey of racial equity and inclusion. And when the two institutions started talking to each other, they've realized that this was the time for them to come together. And they did.
And you could make a greater impact.
Exactly.
And that's what I was saying to you earlier about collaboration really should be your middle name, because it is about collaboration. And to see what you've done at MCW, now coming over to Greater Milwaukee Foundation, it is fair to say collaboration is key. So
absolutely,
everyone gets props. Royal Capital too.
Yes, we have to make sure, because when you have these collaborations, if you don't recognize and talk about everybody's contribution, it doesn't work. And I think
you all have been humble about that,
right?
Because you continue to say the Thrive On collaboration. Right. You're not saying Greater Milwaukee Foundation. I just was referring to it because we're talking about where you sit and you will be visible.
Right.
But needless to say, you're right. It is a collaboration, but that collaboration is right there where the need is.
That's right. And we purposely chose that. So we looked at the real estate functions, wanted all the traditional real estate functions, but we also wanted the challenges that come along with being in a food desert. At the time when we identified it, it was a food desert. We looked at the health disparities in that community because we knew that there were challenges there. We looked at the educational options in the area. So we looked at everything that we were based in and focused on around health equity and around social determinants, and said, let's take a tangible investment, make a generational investment, but not just by ourselves. Create a community advisory council of residents from Halliard Park, Harambe, and Brewers Hill, and we engaged them, and we engaged them differently. We engaged them in a way where we said, not only are we going to ask you for your time, but we're also going to exchange with you on how funders make decisions so that you can make small seed funding going forward. We're also going to make sure that anytime we're engaging you, we're not just extracting, but we're giving something back. So never is a time in which someone came in and they just spent hours with us and didn't receive something in return. I'm not trying to buy the community. We're just trying to partner with the community. And then when we identified an issue that we had heard from them, we talked back to them about that issue and said, is this right? Whether it's around art, and anybody that comes down to the collaboration should just see the significant artwork that we have with the 20 artists that have been commissioned to, display their voice, listening to community residents.
And when you talk about listening to residents, some of the smallest residents you are also listening to and trying to raise up. Can you speak a little bit about the early education component to the Greater Milwaukee Foundation?
So on the early childhood education piece, the Greater Milwaukee Foundation has made a commitment, and it's a focus area of the foundation. And we thought, if it's going to be a focus area and we're going to have our corporate headquarters at Thrive on King, then we needed to have a community partner there that represented that. And we just found a tremendous partner in Malika Early Learning. They are fantastic. A, they were already high quality. B, they were looking for a second location. C, we felt like they culturally understood the commitment that was being made by us, and they also connected with community in a way that, frankly, we couldn't. We offered them the ability to have that second location on an expanded basis. We knew what the capacity needs were in that area. We also knew that they could go and talk to other providers in the area and demonstrate to them that we were not
trying to take over.
Exactly. I was trying to find the right word. Yeah. And just so they're great. And they're going to have a 15,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility on the first floor that adds high-capacity seats in the area, and then also serves as a best practices area for other providers in the community, whether you're in-home providers or regular commercial providers.
So in closing, what does success look like to you from a standpoint of where you are now to, say, 2 years from now?
That's too short of a time frame.
Okay, well, good to know.
Too short of a time frame, because we made a generational commitment. So that's 20 plus years.
Okay.
Both institutions and Rural Capital. Success looks like just anecdotally, other anchor institutions adopting different parts of this community that have needs. For us, it is the residents in the areas that I've named previously. Those who want to be there can stay there, and others coming in, and more business activity in the area. The health indicators going in the right direction. More healthy food options on King Drive and within that general vicinity. Less crime. Greater, I call it civic pride, and just a beacon for people who are coming to Milwaukee, visiting Milwaukee, and then also people who have a negative narrative viewpoint of Milwaukee. They can see something that is truly, invested in and resourced properly, and it can be done, right? Educationally, a difference. We got educational options in that area now with St. Marcus, Milwaukee College Prep, Go to My Air, Howard Fuller Collegiate Academy, all within walking distance. That's a neighborhood.
And a Milwaukee for us all.
You got it.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Is there someone in your community doing amazing work? An unsung hero, or someone just with an inspiring story to uplift us all? Well, I want to hear from you because I want to talk to them. Why don't you reach out to me with the email on the screen? And the next time you tune in, they may just be sitting next to me here on the PozCast.